My name is Sean Snowday. I'm the co-founder with over there India Kern,
Good
and
morning.
we have Pegotty Cooper today on with us. I'm so excited. India, why don't you introduce Pegotty, and let's just jump right into it.
Yeah, so I am so honored to have Pegotty. I went through CDC divorce coaching, and I think it was 2018, and it has been such a valuable resource. I send people there, and I still go back and get the continuing education. So I'm just happy to have Pegotty. So let me tell y'all about Pegotty. So Pegotty Cooper is the co-founder of the CDC Certified Divorce Coach Training and Certification Program. Now, 15 years ago, when there was no such thing as divorce coaching training, Pegotty and her co-founder partner set out to establish the personal divorce coach as a respected player in three ways. One, equipped with professional standards and ethics. Two, supporting clients to be effective in many issues clients must face both outside and inside of the divorce legal process. And lastly, helping them to become a credible client for the professionals on their divorce team. So I can tell you that this program is incredible. It's what I went through, and I am a CDC certified divorce coach, and I have been doing it
Yeah.
actually since 2017. But when I did her program, it enhanced my game. So welcome, Pegotty. We're so glad to have you. We want to jump in. We want to talk about, actually, the name of this podcast is Explore the Unexpected Pathways to Success and Fulfillment. So we want to hear your story and what brought you here to this creation of the CDC certified divorce training, divorce
So
coach.
it I'm going to give you a sort of the immediate answer, like what happened, right? Because my partner, who's also my husband, Randy, who I never ever ever in my wildest imagination thought I would work with. let me let me put that on the table.
Right.
But he came up with this idea, and I said, "Okay, let's do it." And so we got, it was somewhere around March, and I wanted to start the program in July. We'd been talking about it for a couple of years. And I went to two people who I knew were really excellent marketers, and I said, "Look, this is what I want to do." And each of them said, "Oh, oh no, we could never get it off the ground by July. No, September maybe January."
Mhm.
And I said, "Well, that's not going to work for me. I want to start it in July." So they said, "Oh, well, you're just never going to be able to do it." And I said, "Watch me."
Right.
And so in July, we started our first program with 4 people.
That's incredible.
And
You had four people.
and it was a great it's been a great adventure. And it was sheer determination that got us through the
Mhm,
first few years.
mhm.
But here we are today, and I'm just really we never imagined in our wildest dreams that we would have people in over 25 countries
That's
trained
amazing.
as divorce coaches. I mean, just it was sort of beyond our really wildest dreams. So
What was
that's
the inspiration behind this school training?
well, I'm going to go back to when I became a divorce coach, when I became a coach,
Okay.
and I began to realize I learned a lot of things from becoming a coach. And one of the things I realized is that if you're not solving a problem for someone, you
Mhm.
are never going to have a good flow of income.
That is true.
And it came to me because I was a leadership coach. I was coaching people in the field that I'd left, which was association management. And and as a leadership coach, I loved working with my clients, and I had a number of clients. And one day they started coming to me in 2008. No, yes, it was 2008, and said, "Can you help me with my resume?" And I wanted to say, "I don't do resumes."
Right.
But I said, "My clients want me. They need my help. I'm here to serve my clients." And so I started helping them with their resumes. And I got very good at resumes because I had the ability to see their strengths where they didn't see them for themselves. They wanted to be like everybody else. They've got to have a vanilla resume so that they don't, so that they fit in. Well, you don't fit in with resumes, right? You stand out. And so I started working with them on resumes, and then I developed myself as a career coach.
Okay.
And job loss has a huge impact on people.
Mm-hmm.
And so and people are in sometimes they can't even tell people what went on. So you have to work with them in honing their story about what happened, right? So they don't look bad.
Mm-hmm.
They do it from a position of strength
Mm-hmm.
and choice often. And so I really started working with people and doing that. And then my husband Randy was a Supreme Court of Florida family mediator.
Oh.
He'd gotten there in kind of a zigzag path as well, because he was a financial planner back in the early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And so he came. So in a low period, right? I suggested that he go and get coach training because he was great with money and the money conversation, and everybody's got a money conversation. And so I thought, let me have him. We'll coach people. And he came
Mm-hmm.
back and he said, wow, that was really great. And now a light bulb went on for me, and I went, great, we're going to have money conversations. And he said, this is the missing professional in divorce. Well, that wasn't what I expected to hear, but but the more we talked about it, the more I realized that this was really this like job loss is another big life transition that people really
Mm-hmm.
need support in. And so again, it fit my criteria. You it's it's a recurring problem. People have it. It's pervasive. Everybody's got it. And so how do how could we really make it be something that, because you mentioned 3 points, but my motive was really to help people transform themselves
Mm-hmm.
so that they could become the person they always wanted to be when they get to write the next chapter
Yeah.
after
Cool.
divorce.
So
Oh,
is that like a core value or your value proposition right there?
I find people's gifts and
Yeah.
I help them take those gifts and mesh it with all the experience they've had so that they can really move into that next chapter and be wildly successful, like beyond what they ever imagined. And it's so great when that happens. I love it
I
when
like how you said you found out you had to help people transform themselves
mhm.
so they can move into the next chapter.
Right.
Like that is a great mission.
otherwise people get stuck doing the same things that they've always done, getting the same results that they've always gotten, and are some level of unhappiness. But actually, I discovered that when I finally left my corporate job. I'd been trained as a coach. I left my corporate job not voluntarily because I thought I'm going to wait till Randy settled in his work, because had both started we both started our own business within 6 months of each other, and it was a little rocky.
Mm, I bet. Yeah.
But s- so he so as we started to dive into that, um, where was I going with that? What was your question?
Oh, it was, let's see, how did you initially, no, it wasn't that. What brought you into the biz? What inspired you? What inspired you? That was it.
Oh, so he said to me, let's do this. We can do this. And I thought, okay, well, um, I had a secret. This is why am I telling the whole world this? But anyway, let me tell you. So I had a secret that I had never told anyone. And he kept saying to me, why are you resisting? Why are you resisting doing this? And I said, because I just don't want to do this. I don't want to have anything to do with divorce. And he
Mhm.
said, why not? And I said, we'd been married about 25 years at that point in time. And I said, well, because I've never told you that I was married before.
Oh, wow.
I'd never told anyone because I was really ashamed of this decision that I made when I was in my early 20s. So he said, he was quiet for a moment and he said, well, you'll be more credible now.
Yeah. Wow. That's great. That's a great story.
So as soon as he said, when we have secrets, it keeps us constrained. Like we cannot make choices in certain areas because of those secrets. Nobody cares about my secret.
Right.
Nobody, right? I'm the one who cared most about it. And so once I let the cat out of the bag, it was like, okay, let's go.
Yeah,
Let's do this.
exactly. It's like changing the narrative, which you do with the coachees, right?
Right.
So, Sean, what questions do you have? I know you have some for Pegotty as well.
No, you guys are doing great. My main question is just like, tell us a little bit about what you do, like how you got there and what you do and what services you provide and how you attract people.
Yeah, how did you market yourself in the beginning? That's a question I have.
Well, I'm going to start before I started marketing because I decided I'm going to be so let me start with the coach. And the same thing happened when I said I'm going to become a trainer of coaches,
Mhm.
right? I had to go and hang out with people who did what I wanted to do.
Mm.
That was really key. I had no clients when I joined a coaching organization, and I met with these people in the back room of Panera Bread,
Okay.
and they just shared stories, and I was enthralled by the stories. And then they said to me, "So do you have any clients?" And I said, "No." And they said, "Well, the University of Tampa has a coaching program where you volunteer to be a coach for their MBA students,
Mm.
and you'd fit right in." And I said, "Great." So I started coaching. One of the great things about volunteering for doing something is that you're not constrained by anything, right? You're just volunteering. And nobody's saying, "Well, that wasn't really worth what we paid you," because they're not paying you anything, right? So you can kind of play with it and
Experiment.
experiment
Mhm.
and just do all kinds of things. And it really gives you great freedom to expand and to go beyond your comfort zone and to really get confident and get courageous about the things that you do.
Mhm.
So it was really important to me to do that. And I read a Harvard Business article one time that said people fail at coaching because they don't specialize in something, right? Like, okay, well, I got the specialty down,
Mhm.
and they don't do low cost or voluntary things. They want to get paid for everything.
Mhm.
And then the third thing is they don't tell their circle. All that circle of people that really know, love, and trust them, they
Mhm.
don't tell them. I don't know if they're embarrassed about. I don't know why they don't tell them,
Right.
but so you got to tell people, and those are the people that are going to be your first clients. That are going to bring you your first clients because they're going to say, "Oh, that India, she's amazing. I don't know what she's like as a coach, but she must be great, right?"
Yeah, Shone and I were building slides yesterday just about this. And so it's going to be something that we cover on Friday, but we can go into that later. So in beginning, how did you initially market yourself? Did you do that? Did you go to your sphere of influence and say, "Hey, I'm doing this new thing. I'd love to volunteer or try it out on you"? Or how did you start?
Well, I just inserted myself any place where I thought there might be something going on. I went to job fairs and I volunteered to speak there about resumes.
Right.
I
Right.
what I first did was what I really loved to do, which was I did ropes courses and took people on scuba diving trips,
Nice.
and I had this thing called midlife adventure, but it was not a good business model for me. No, it was not because I was having too much fun. I thought if people got really challenged, right, that it would kind of break down their barriers, their shields, and that they would be open to coaching.
Mhm.
Well, we all had a great time doing it. So that was, but what happened? This was like a whack on the side of the head. Um, I decided I didn't want to have anything to do with the corporate world, right? Because I was just burned out by it. I was just burned out by it. And so I was a member of the ICF in Tampa, And a letter came into the ICF and they said, we're looking for somebody who would be willing to coach association executives at a conference we're having in Orlando. And I said, I own that.
Good.
That
Yeah.
is that is mine. I own that because not only was I a member of the organization that was sponsoring it, still a member, but I'd also gotten an award from them. And so I had a lot of credibility. So I went. I was the only coach that went. I coached 7 people for 2 days in a row, every back to back to back to back, and I said, "Well, this is either gonna tell me I love coaching or
Right.
it's gonna tell me that I don't love it." And I was so energized. By the time I got to number 7, I was just, "What? We don't have any more people to
Right.
coach today?"
Yeah.
So I really loved it. And so I made a connection with the organization because they were just thinking about having coaching. So for the next 14 years, they were what I call an organizational sponsor for me. And I was on a list of coaches. They would post the list on their website and they would invite their 5,000 people that were attending their annual meeting to come and book a meeting with a coach. I would usually coach 25 people, and over time I got really good at converting them. And so I would have about half would become coaches for me. I mean, clients for me. And then over the course of the year, I'd follow up with them. I send them, just nice informational things, and the rest of them would become clients. And
Nice.
some of them were clients for years. And then I just kept trying to find where were the groups that I could go to where I could coach one-on-one,
Mhm.
but I would be passed around, right?
Right. Right.
And associations are one of those things because associations, they always share the good news about everything together, right? Like, how do you do something better? They're a mission-driven people. Members are mission, really there to make their whatever their profession is better,
Mhm.
and they do that by sharing and by talking to other people and challenging themselves. And so coaching is one of the ways that they were willing to do that. So every place I go, I look for an organizational sponsor, somebody who will. And so I continue to have the University of Tampa. I still work with the University of Tampa, only now I'm a adjunct professor. And I also did a lot of work at University of South Florida.
Okay.
Just people who have people that they want to serve, and
Right.
so having that organizational sponsor is really nice.
Yeah. So, what about some challenges in marketing? What have been the challenges over the years, or initially?
Well, we weren't technology people. I mean, yes, I have to say, wait a minute. I was a technology person. I worked for my last job was with a big technology distributor, and I worked for a big technology society, Association for Computing Machinery, and and so I loved technology, but it was it was challenging to kind of wrap your arms around all of the things you had to do in technology. Then you had to do, you know, administrative stuff, and then you had to
Mhm.
do serving your clients. So the best thing I did was the first thing I did was I hired somebody to take care of my books for me because
Nice.
I did not like to do that.
I
So,
don't like to do that either. I do the same thing.
and I also connected with a platform that really helped me work with one-on-one clients because it had all the materials that I could upload all the materials. It was called Coach's Console.
Mhm.
And so so that was really helpful. And then I was free to like really get out there and connect with clients one-on-one. I am a collaborator,
Mhm.
so I also like to collaborate with people. I'm also and I like to I like to work. I like to work in groups, but not solely with groups. So I like to mix group work and
Mhm.
individual work, and so that's what I always focused on doing. It turned out I really like teaching.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so what could I do that would engage people and then would also give me a follow-up so that, you know, applying this, you know, executing on this is the challenge. So what can I do to help you do that for their own sake?
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Were you a member of ICF at that time?
Yes, I was. I
Yeah.
was a member of ICF, and I did a lot of leadership. I had a lot of leadership roles in ICF. I actually resuscitated the Tampa chapter
Yeah.
and took over, made it the Central Florida chapter.
Yeah. I actually started the ICF in Ventura County.
Mm,
And I remember they had like these core values. So I printed them all out and I put them in front of my treadmill because I wanted them burned into my mind. So
right.
I'd run on the treadmill and I'd read them for like half hour. And the way I started it, and this is probably about 15 or 17 years, about 17, wow, 18 years ago. And what I did is I just went on the internet and I found everyone that was like a life coach and part of ICF or not. And then I just had a potluck at my house. I lived in Westlake Village, California.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said, hey, I'm going to have a potluck. What do you want to bring? Like, I didn't even give them the
The
chance to.
assumptive close.
And they're like, oh, I'll bring some potato salad. Oh, Cindy's bringing potato salad. Can you bring, a watermelon or a cantaloupe or something? And then I just had all these coaches at my house. And then that's how the ICF Ventura County started.
Excellent. That's very creative. Very creative.
Yeah.
I actually did that, but I had the University of Tampa sponsor the breakfast because they wanted more coaches. And
Yeah.
I said, okay, well, this is a way to bring all these people together, and we'll also talk to them about reforming, because the whole chapter had sort of fallen
Yeah.
apart because it didn't have any leadership. There was one guy who treated us like his therapy clients, and we would sit in a group in his office on Saturday mornings. And I said, and he did everything. He didn't want anybody to help him, right? And was like, well, this doesn't, no, I don't
Yeah.
want to do this.
It doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
No.
I had a client hire me one time, and I worked with treatment centers, and the thing is, well, I'm in recovery myself, right? Like, decades and decades and decades. But the thing is, one client hired me and they start like giving me therapy, and I'm like, you're my client. Like, I don't need therapy. Oh, well, people that don't need therapy say that need therapy say they don't need. I'm like, let's back up a little bit. It was really, so I know what you went through. It's really painful when you're trying to bring together a community, and then there's that one vampire that's like, this is the way we're going to do it, and everyone's going to listen to me. So how did you get out of that, or did you just kind of cancel out and bring the tribe over to another conversation?
Well, he stopped being he said, I'm not going to do this anymore. Who wants to take over? And nobody wanted to. So we just sort of backed away. And then it had been dormant for probably a year or so. And that's when I said, oh, the University of Tampa wants coaches. I know there are coaches here. So I just kind of leveraged those two things. That was my organizational sponsor
Yeah.
to
Did
make
you
that
call them,
organization
or
happen.
did you have them bring them together, or did you call the people and bring them together?
So I had a list. I had a list of the chapter members.
Right.
So I just brought, and I think I'm sure I was using social media then. And yeah, I would just get the word out, and they told other people, and pretty soon there were people, there were a lot of people, especially because they thought, well, so using the University of Tampa, they thought they were going to be, they thought they were going to be coaching for the University of Tampa, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and it was all of them who are still involved love the work that we do there because I run a workshop, and the workshop has coaches who are working with the members of the people in the workshop, helping them to really discover things. And these are MBA students who have never had a coach. And
Right.
so their eyes are like open wide about, the power that coaching has, because they just had no clue. They didn't know what a coach was. They didn't, it was So
And the university provides the space,
the space, the food,
yeah,
most importantly. They don't now we had a whole separate organization that you know, because they also included alumni members as
right,
coaches. And that's what got me started on training coaches is I had to train all these volunteers to be coaches
right.
and give them the kind of the shortcut to do it. And
Mhm.
so that's what started me. And I said, well, I can train coaches. I've been
Yeah.
doing it for the University of Tampa and the University of South Florida. So so that's what really got me started. And I had a lot of coach training. I've done a ton of coach training.
How
Yeah.
many coaches do you have? Oh, sorry, Sharon. How many coaches do you have right now in your program?
In as certified coaches,
Mm-hmm.
400 and some odd, some about
Sorry.
400 and we're, it's renewal time, so I'm not quite sure.
Right.
400.
And how do
Yeah.
you keep them coming, or how do you keep getting new, fresh leads?
Um, I- Social media,
Mm-hmm.
emails,
Mm-hmm.
they get on our lists. Master, we have a divorce coaching masterclass, which is a succession series of the things that we're pulling from our program.
Mm-hmm.
So
And so,
is that free or for that masterclass?
mhm, mhm.
Okay.
So can you tell the listeners right now how they would be able to access that? So maybe we can drive some traffic that way.
Sure. Certifieddivorcecoach.com.
Hmm.
And then it says you'll see a free masterclass on
Right.
the on the dashboard, and you'll see the list of the 6 of them and the dates that they're going to be. Sign up for one or sign up for all of them,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very informal. And people who participate get a lot out of it. They get a lot out of it.
Mm-hmm.
They think, unfortunately, I hope they don't think that they're now trained as a coach.
So it's certifieddivorcecoach.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you're also running
Certifieddivorcecoach.com.
you run some paid ads as well.
We do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We do, because we found that we had to because we were always at the top of the SEO, for
Mm-hmm.
the search, but then we were way, way, way down below the advertisements because we weren't advertising. So we figured out we needed to advertise as
Yeah.
well.
There's a lot of new platforms out there, other for divorce professionals. I know you know this. How are you standing out? Because you're definitely probably the oldest one. Your training is probably the oldest. How are you standing out among all these new platforms that are popping up? Because divorce is quite an industry now.
It is quite an industry, and we faced this like several years ago when sort of some people started popping up then as well, and what we had to do is we just had to get better. We
Yeah.
just had to get better. We had to stick to what it is that we believe really works, which is live training. So we have an online platform that has a lot of content, but then also has the live training, which brings it all to life.
Mhm.
And then there's also a lot of reflection work, so that you have to think about what did I learn, what did
Mhm.
I experience, and now how am I going to take that into divorce coaching? How am I going to serve clients with that?
Right.
So and then we just have to keep getting better. That's all. And sometimes it usually kind of sends a bit of um, fear through me because I still have imposter syndrome after all
We
these
all do. We all do.
after all these years. And so this fear strikes to my heart, and I thought, no, hey, we just got to get better. What are we going to do
That's
to get
right.
better? So now, and because it used to be that divorce was the specialty, but now it's high conflict divorce.
Mhm.
It's special needs divorce. It's faith-based divorce. It's co-parenting. So
Mhm.
we've got specialty courses that are now graduate programs in all of those
So
things.
let's delve into that a little bit. That's really super cool how
That's
you're
fun.
really niching out the divorce and you're drilling out down to it. Because I had a friend that he went through a divorce and his wife got ready for battle, and he's a multimillionaire, and he just opened up his books. He goes, "Here's everything, you get half," and her jaw dropped. She was like, and he's like, "All right, now Now, so, but then you have like these different niches. So how do you find out which one is doing better than the other? I mean, of course, you're going to have
Well,
to test it, but
so many of them come from coaches who are already working in these areas. They find
Mhm.
themselves working in these areas, and we say, well, let's get an advisory group together and let's figure out what is it that would really make a difference here.
Mhm.
And so, they're thrilled that we're creating and we're on all of them are registered certifications. So, there's a lot of people that give certificates out, right, for
yeah.
training, but ours are registered with the government of the US, Canada, UK, and Australia.
So
So
that separates you right there.
they have regulations, right? They have regulations that we have to, adhere to. We have to help our clients adhere to them. That's the code of ethics.
Yeah.
And that has us stand out. We also do we bring in so much content, not content, but frameworks that are easy for people to use. Not everybody likes everything, but that's why we have so much of it so that you can take some and leave some.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's frameworks that come from all different disciplines. So if you're working with executives, you've got the kind of things that executives would relate to. And if you're working with stay-at-home moms, you've got the things that they would relate to. And if you've got but it's really all about our humanness, right? It's our it's us as human beings that is really impacted by divorce.
Yeah.
And so we have to figure out a way to manage our own emotions, de-escalate,
Mhm.
and we have to figure out a way to communicate more effectively and to just not let our hot buttons run away with us
Yeah.
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
that when we get into a discussion with somebody, we don't get derailed by a perceived insult to our who we see ourselves as, right? And then we take a left turn and, this conversation that was going this way suddenly took a little detour and you got to bring it back so that
Mhm.
you can finish
So
the conversation.
do you have specialized certification for like, well, I'm a divorce coach, but I'm a divorce coach, with a minor in executives, or with like what really hit me was the specialized children because uh, the
Special needs. Mhm.
special needs, I said special needs
Hmm.
children, because that divorce is going to be a little bit different than this
Way different,
children.
way different, way different.
Yeah. So do you
It-
have like these like, well, you'll get certified in this, but also you can specialize in this as
yes,
how to
you
okay.
have
But
to
that's
do
the
the base.
course,
You have to
right?
do the basic of coaching, right? You have to do the basic of coaching
Right,
and the broad background that you get. But
right,
then we dive deeper with a shorter program held not as often. It's once a week, and it's for a little bit shorter period of time. But it's really focusing on very specific examples that are representative of all the different kinds of things that people are going to encounter, and we just want to explore those so that they can match up the tools that they have with the needs that are being exhibited in these scenarios,
Right.
right.
in these real life scenarios.
Yeah.
So do you write your content? Would it be like I'll tell you why. There's this guy named Les Brown,
Mhm.
and his top coach, I can't remember his name, but I coached him. That's how memorable he was. Sorry, people out in live stream land, but especially if he's watching. But the thing is, on his page,
You
he
won't remember
said
it. Sorry.
he said that he was an executive coach. Okay, I got a really small. Let me. He said he was an executive coach and a grief coach, both on the same page. And I'm
Hmm.
like, well, the executive coach is going to come to that page and see grief coach and get like, well, I'm not in grief. And the grief coach, the person grieving, is going to see executive and say, I'm not an executive. So I told him you need to separate those two and then write content directly to that so you're more out there. So are you doing something to that effect?
Well, so I always refer to myself as a thinking partner, which appeals to everybody, right?
Yeah.
But here's what I say: I coach leaders in challenging times, which include change, conflict, job moves, and divorce.
Okay.
So I put them under this whole umbrella that makes sense for
Right.
the people because they understand that. And I often get calls from my association executive friends, and they say, are you still doing both career coaching and divorce coaching? And I always say, yes, I am. And they said, well, because I have to outsource my staffing, and people have been here 18 years, and they feel like this is really a divorce for them. Can you help them? So
Yeah.
yeah, you're dealing with all the loss, the identity issues, the need to make this emotional transition away from something that you've been part of for such a long time to something that's totally new and you have no clue what it is. And so you got to get in the messy middle where you just, have to sort out who are you are, what's important to you, what are my strengths, what's in that box of tricks that I put aside when I got this job or got married, right? In the case of divorce, so that I can pull those dreams out. It's not tricks, but the dreams of who I wanted to be. And now
Yeah.
I can think about that's who I want to be. That's the transformation as you move forward.
Yeah, that's fascinating because of the way that and this all has to do with marketing, is with the wording you're using. Like, I had a thing called "You Are So Worth It." It was a global center for women,
Mm-hmm.
and so I said I work with women that are 25 plus that have everything and had already lived the dream, but feel like they haven't really made a difference. And that's pretty much every woman on the planet. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I'm going to help you live the dream. They're going to be like, I already lived the dream. So I put in there, you already lived the dream. And, but everyone feels like they haven't really made a difference. Like, it's
But
like,
you're hungry. But you're hungry. You're still hungry for
yeah,
something, right?
hungry for more. I have more to give.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
Yeah.
dead yet. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So then when it comes to enrolling these people, you have one main master class, but do you have other classes that you give for free that people might want to attend?
Uh, well, the master class is held every week for between when we're between sessions, and so they then have to make a call. We then want to talk to them, so we have a one-on-one call with them, and kind of make sure that what they're trying to accomplish is what we can accomplish, is what they could accomplish in our course. And sometimes they want to be telling people what to do and they don't want to be moved off of that. So, they're not really a good fit because, that's not what it's about. We have to draw a line as to we're not advisors, because in the legal process, there are advisors, right? And so we want to make sure that we're clear about what this is and what it isn't. And so they talk to us, and we send them a registration form as a result of that conversation.
Well,
And it
that's
works
also
really
why,
well.
go ahead.
It
That's
works.
also why it's so important that people actually get certified at the certifieddivorcecoach.com program, is so that they understand that they're not going to get themselves in hot water if they just go, oh, well, I'm a divorce coach, and you can get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Because as we both know, Pegotty, the client often asks us legal questions. And so we have to be very clear that that is not something we do.
Yeah.
But they're like, well, what do you think? I can't even go there, because I'm not an attorney. I could get you in trouble. I could get myself in trouble.
But the work that we do with them, as a result of those questions, because now we can say, well, let's put a finer point on that so that you can really get what you need from your attorney. Yeah.
So I say this, I get you mentally prepared for the business of divorce, or emotionally prepared. So you go in there with bullet points, and you make this the fastest transactional meeting that saves you money, because you're not bringing your emotions to the table. And so you're making rational decisions. So
And your attorney appreciates that.
they love it. They love it. I had an attorney recently go on a podcast, and I don't know the name of the podcast. And one of the questions was, what do you think about divorce coaches? And she was so kind to talk about me. And she says, oh my gosh, it makes my life so much easier. So, and anyway, and it does. So I do have one more question for you, and Sharon, if you have more, but I do want to ask this because what we see as marketing coaches, because I do divorce coaching, but I also do marketing coaching with Sharon, is a lot of coaches out there. They're really good at what they do. They're really good, but they have zero presence. They're invisible online, or they have no way of getting their clients. They don't know how to market. And I get it, because that's not what your gift is. So what would you say to someone that's just beginning as a coach and they are like, I really want to coach, I'm good at it, but I don't even know how to begin this marketing journey. I don't know how to get my name out. I don't know where I should start.
Well, we ask them to do some work, so, right? Some internal work first, which is like to recognize, who are you really? Like who are you with all of your little idiosyncrasies, or your great idiosyncrasies, right? And the things that you really, are kind of quirky about you, because that's what attracts people. When you're real, if you try to cover all that up, you don't have any life.
Right.
And then the second thing you have to do is like reflect on your own journey, whether it's the journey of your life, whether it's the journey of your divorce, whether it's the journey of some really rough times that you went through, and think about, what did I learn? What did I learn as I went through this? And it's usually that learning that you're really passionate about people learning about, right? You want to help them through these mechanisms, right? Or you want to help them to have this transformation. And because you're, that's sort of the hero's journey, right? Left home, fought all his demons, came out the other side, met some coaches or mentors or guides along the way, learned a lot of things, and now comes home to who they are as their real self, their true self. And now they're able to really work with people in a much more authentic and purpose-driven way. And when you get purpose-driven, it's not about you anymore. And when you can step outside of yourself and focus on the purpose that you're really here to serve, it makes all the difference in the world.
Yes, it does.
Right?
The why is everything. You don't have to worry about the how. The why is everything.
Yeah. Because when you listen, when you're present, when you can just be present to people, meaning I don't have to prove anything, when I can just be present and just listen for those little golden threads that you can pull out and start to help them to weave together to, really discover that, wow, here's this amazing, this not only just, there's more than you even thought you had.
Right.
And here's some, and here, let's figure out how you could use that.
Yeah, you were also talking earlier about the sphere of influence and like doing these coaching with your friends and family. And I started with my mother. I literally coached my mom, and I made $7,000 that day. And I'll tell you how I did that. I owed her $30,000, so she said, "We'll let you go." You knew I wasn't going to pay her anyhow.
I was most surprised when I belonged to a church, and my minister, I just shared with him what I was doing, and I'm thinking, well, there's a lot of people. It was a liberal faith, so there were people that divorced and did all kinds of different things. So I just thought he would be interested to know that I was there as a resource. And then he came and he said, "I'd really like to talk with you more about that." And I'm thinking, well, that's interesting. So I offered him what we call a discovery session. So I offer a free discovery session. It's a time when I just ask questions. I gather information about them, what their challenges are, what they most want, what obstacles they've encountered along the way. And at the end of that 45 minutes that we spent together, he said, "I cannot believe how clear I am about what I want and what I don't want in my church leadership role." I had I had no clue as to what was going to come out of that, right?
Yeah.
But just reflecting back to him what he was saying to me, and he brought together a group of ministers that together we did a whole bunch of things with the ministers to just explore.
Is this how you collaborate? Do you collaborate or like do strategic alliance, whatever words you want to say? Is you work with other corporations and then they bring their tribe together and then you go in, or
Generally, not corporations, but communities of people.
Yeah.
some sort of community, right, of
Mhm.
people that share something and, kind of come together.
Yeah.
The corporate world has got too many layers of decision makers.
Yeah.
Like you, Peggy, I started at my church and I started offering divorce care, which
Mm,
is a volunteer
yeah.
position. And that's actually how I started.
And that and volunteering, I'm sure volunteering there gave you great
Oh,
insight,
yeah.
great confidence,
And it's
right?
managing a group of people that are
Yep,
going through a serious life transition. So
yep,
it taught me a lot.
yep, yep. And
And
that's exactly what people they don't want to do that, right? Like they're
Mhm.
afraid, well, if I give it away,
Right.
then what? And I said, well, you give them, 3 sessions, and then if they like it, they, give them a deal to keep going.
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I just had someone. I just talked with someone, and we have a saying: you can't get to where you're going with the people that got you where you are, right? And
right.
so a lot of times with these groups, one of my questions are, do you provide how to? Because I don't know how to do a group. All I know is when I do a group, someone silly is going to come in, and then I have to manage that one person as all the other people are like waiting for that one person to get managed. So, do you teach through your your certified divorce coach program how to manage groups?
We give them a primer on it, and we give them some resources.
Okay,
And one of my again, as the collaborator, I've led groups, and I like to lead with somebody else because for that very reason,
Mhm.
right.
sometimes you have to take care of somebody,
Yep.
right? And you
Yeah.
want to keep the group going, so you kind of switch off. One week,
Mhm.
someone will be the go-to person, and the other person will be the facilitator, and then you'll switch
Mhm.
it off.
Mhm.
Okay, that's good advice.
Yeah.
And then we also go through a lot of exercises because, the knowledge is always there in the room. What did you like about the last group you were in? What did you not like?
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
And then that sort of gives you the roadmap for what do you need to do as a facilitator?
Right.
Yeah, do the survey.
Hmm.
Well, I do have a question. This is my secret question that I always ask at the very end.
Uh-oh.
People
Uh-oh.
always get really super nervous. They're like, "Ooh, it's going to be something." But what is the one thing you've always wanted to do in your business that you haven't done yet?
To have a big event
Hmm.
where I could bring everybody together, all of those 400 people, right? And from around the world, and have everybody come together and ex and ex and meet each other, but also get a lot of education and, just have it be a great experience.
That would be great. If you do that, I want to be a part of it.
Okay. Do you
So
wanna
what
organize it?
Yeah, I'll even speak if you want.
so would it be a live event face to face or a virtual event?
It would be both. I think it would be both.
Mhm.
Okay.
But I really prefer, to be a live event.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. Um so yeah, to have but a live event face to face, right?
Right. Yes.
In person.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, so that I actually do those. That's what I'm all about. So I'd love to talk
Oh,
to you about
really? Oh,
that.
good. All right.
And
Well,
also the virtual things. But back to wrapping this up. I got a knock on my door, so you two kind of take that off, and I'm gonna find out.
Yeah.
bye. Am I saying goodbye to you?
I think he's coming back. I think he's got a knock on
I'll
the
be
door.
right back.
So,
This will take 2 minutes.
um, well, well, this has been great, Peggy. I'm so glad that you decided to come on and talk to us about your journey and all the you've given just nuggets of wisdom. So it's been incredible. Um, you know, Shone and I also have a master class, and we are doing that every Friday. It's free at
Mhm.
10 o'clock Pacific time, and so we talk all about marketing. So we really coach any coach. I mean, it doesn't have to be a divorce
Mhm.
coach, and
Right.
Shone's specialty is technology, software, and he knows it all, like Infusionsoft, any kind of CRM. He knows backwards and forwards.
He's the go-to guy.
He's the guru when it comes to CRM software. And our big thing is, we always say this to coaches, especially newbies, that we don't want you to go and throw money at things, that we can help you get started with the least amount of investment. So I was telling Pegotty about our masterclass. It's called Marketing.
So we have a masterclass, but as for this particular thing, this is more about like with Pegotty's business and what she's doing. So I kind of want to promote that, the certifieddivorcecoach.com. And like, what are some of the places they can find you? Do you have a Facebook group, or do you have a LinkedIn, or I know you have certifieddivorcecoach.com, but are there other places people can find you?
Well, you can find coaches on divorcesupporthelp.com, because that's where our coach directory is.
And what was that? Divorced help?
Divorcesupporthelp.com.
Okay.
And you can also link to it from our certified divorce coach, but that's where we have, and all of the content that's on there has been created by the coaches that are represented in the directory. And it's really good. It's really good stuff. And all their, the books that they've written, or podcasts that they do, it's all, or videos that they've done. It's all there.
Nice.
So you can get a nice
view
of our coaches.
These links and the notes as well.
And do you have your own podcast?
I do not. I'm too busy developing new courses.
That's good.
But I love being a guest on a podcast because
we're really honored to have you here.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I really appreciated the opportunity.
And I know India is only in the position she's in because she went through your certification, and she's a successful coach. She makes enough money to pay her bills. Like the thing is going through your certification, it's really, you're preparing people for a career,
right?
To where they're actually a professional coach. Yes. They're not just saying it at the Chamber of Commerce. They're actually taught how to be a divorce coach, how to avoid the pitfalls of being a divorce coach, and
where the boundaries are, and
how to monetize it.
Right.
And you also have the divorcesupporthelp.com that helps people, but they also get information through books and podcasts from other coaches on how to maintain or even grow and enhance their business, right?
And we also continue after certification with a monthly certification with continuing education. I think we've got, 120 archived continuing education programs, and they're really great. Many of them are really great programs.
Yeah.
Including the one India did on artificial intelligence, and she totally turned me on to artificial intelligence. So
and this has been really exciting for me because I'm not really familiar with this, but when you got into the different niches, and I would have never thought about that. Like the executive is different than the housewife or the house husband, and is different than the specialized needs children, and there's all different types of calamities. I don't want to use that word, but that can happen during a divorce, and there's real specialty in the niche, and there's a finesse that you need to do, and you also have to have a big heart to be a divorce coach.
Yeah.
So let's just wrap it up. It's Pegotty Cooper. Thank you so much for showing up, Pegotty.
Yes, thank you.
Been awesome. I've learned a lot. And you can go to www.certifieddivorcecoach.com. You'll see masterclass sessions. Go ahead and click on that. Sign up and learn more about this, on how you can make a bigger impact and really share your gift to the world through divorce coaching. And you'll always have the support through Pegotty Cooper, through divorcesupporthelp.com, and other avenues with like books, video training, and even podcasts that you can listen to. So thank you so much, Pegotty, for showing up.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. It's been fun. I've really enjoyed it.